Hello everybody, video here for you today. These are the retro no-cap recaps of The Curse of Oak Island Season 6, Episode 11 and 12, originally aired in January and February of 2019. If you missed my recaps of previous and future episodes, there's a link to my Oak Island playlist in the upper right. Let's get into it. Previously, on The Curse of Oak Island, people have been looking for an incredible treasure for 229 years. After uncovering the U-shaped structure and a wall right behind it on the island side, in addition to a possible box drain with a triangle opening earlier in the 6th season, at the end of the previous episode, Rick unearthed these boards. As the episode called Wharfs and All begins, Rick and Terry believe it's the 50-foot-long L-shaped structure found in the early 1970s by Dan Blankenship, parallel to the U-shaped structure in his own excavation of Smith's Cove. On the right side is the slipway that the team will uncover later this episode. I did not recall, but apparently Gilbert Hedden found it in 1936 and may have built on top of it for his own logistic needs, since there was no causeway at the time of his search efforts. Rick pulls a thick layer of clay away from the boards. He wonders if the side structures were a project started and then abandoned because it would not prevent water from intruding, as the water would just go around either or both ends. In the war room, the refined data on the carved stone found in the woods near the money pit area is in. The text says that the flat area right below the carvings is too precise to have been done by nature. The text says the carvings look like runes to him. Charles says there's a runic stone in a local museum that is attributed to Vikings. In Season 11, Viking-adjacent theory abounds. The team will send the 3D modeling data to other experts to follow up on it. The next day, Terry, Laird, and Gary have the early shift at Smith's Cove. And Gary metal detects this lead bracelet in a recently excavated area. Gary says it has a design on it, but I don't see it. The team meets in the war room to decide on caisson locations. They think they hit Searcher Shaft 6, which is 18 feet away from the original money pit. That group dug down below the flooding depth, then tunneled over to below the money pit to try to avoid the booby traps. It flooded as they were just short of reaching their target. Later, many crashing noises underground were heard, likely meaning the money pit collapsed. The Lagina group would like to find that tunnel and trace it to the money pit. They also decide to revisit H8, which is below the arm marked 14 feet on the right side of this map. In the H8 spoils of the previous year's efforts, the team found 1700s English pottery, parchment and leather bookbinding fragments, as well as 2 human bones, 1 European, 1 Middle Eastern, and both dated to the 1600s. At approximately 170 feet, the caisson hit something the oscillating teeth could not cut through. The team believes it was the chapel vault, and the caisson pushed it down and to the side. Alex and Paul travel 150 miles southwest of Oak Island to the Yarmouth Museum to get more information on the runic stone there. Paul says there are 3 other stones found in the area, but the one at the museum is the most well known. The director of the museum says that Norse is the most likely language that it's written in, and the translation is Leaf to Eric, referring to Eric the Red. Unfortunately, the runes on the Yarmouth stone are more angular and likely not a match for the Oak Island stone. As previously told, the slipway in Smith's Cove is uncovered. Like the other structures, there are no iron fasteners. Billy would continue taking an inch off the top at a time, and Rick says he will check with the engineers to see if it's okay for the team to peel it back all the way to the sheet pile dam to try to uncover the entire structure. In the money pit area, the H8 hole is measured, and it is determined that over 30 feet of silt and debris has accumulated in the bottom of the caisson. So the first step is to hammer grab it clean. Episode 12, called Slipway When Wet, opens with this rare shot from over the lots west of the swamp. So far in Smith's Cove this season, the team has found on the left Gilbert Hedden's 1936 discovery of a slipway. In the center, one of the triangle-shaped stone box drains that likely feed a flood tunnel. In front of that, a small wall packed with clay, presumably to block water. In front of that, the U-shaped and L-shaped structures that Dan Blankenship found in the early 1970s. In the money pit area, the H8 caisson, which has been in place for a year with sediment hardened inside it, is being hammer grabbed to loosen it up. Since it is slow going, Craig asks if there's a reason they couldn't start to oscillate or rotate the caisson to break it out of the sediment. Marty agrees, and Rock Equipment owner and CEO Vanessa Lucido says she would love to get their blessing to start oscillating. The rotation, combined with teeth on the bottom caisson, is how it is driven into the earth. Vanessa and Rock will likely be returning in Season 12 as there were caisson plans at the end of Season 11. Season 12 should be filming now or will start soon, as it is May of 2024 as I record this. The oscillator does start oscillating, and Vanessa tells the guys it will be slow at first. In Smith's Cove, Gary metal detects the slipway and finds this item he says is weapon-like. It is similar to the Roman pilum found in Smith's Cove previously. Laird says he has no idea, but does agree that it's hand-wrought. In the Roar Room, the team talks to a runes expert in Washington, D.C. via video conferencing. Alex had sent her pictures, but she asked for more information before drawing a conclusion. They will send her the 3D scan of it. In the money pit area, the caisson is moving freely, and the Rock Equipment team has successfully raised it from 213 feet to 170 feet. The work will stop momentarily while a sonar scan of the hole below 170 feet is done to confirm Jeremy Church's seismic scanning data that showed a void there between the H8 and C1 caissons. The team has outsourced this to a company that will use a submersible remotely operated vehicle equipped with sonar scanning as shown. Once the submersible is clear of the caisson, the sonar reveals this almost right angle, which usually indicates human intervention. Shortly thereafter, we are reminded that we are on Oak Island as communication with the ROV cuts out, and then power as well. Several searcher groups reported equipment failures throughout the last 229 years, and the Laguna group has had their fair share. They pull the ROV out of the caisson and see that it has indeed gotten water in the device. Rick and Marty decide not to waste the rest of the day and ask Rock to start hammer grabbing again. The runology expert has concluded her examination of the data and says they are not runes, but they remind her of Gothic script used between 1200 and 1500 AD. She then renders the opinion that it's a building stone and the carvings are decorative. Rick says the team will research it further. Rick, Gary, and Dan return to the woods near the money pit area where the stone was originally found to try to find other pieces of it. Gary metal detects and finds this coin. Rick says it's a web design on it and suspects it might be a token used in lieu of coins, a common practice of merchants in North America from the 1600s to the 1800s. Laird calls Rick and tells him they have found a previously undocumented structure in Smith's code. It's this concrete wall near the Sheep Pile Dam, buried 8 feet deep. Rick says that Dan's cofferdam from the 1970s would have been right on top of it, so he would not have seen this structure. Billy will scrape both sides of it to see if it extends. I'll continue these retro no-cap recaps of seasons 6 through 8 through the summer and early fall. The next season, season 12, starts in November, probably. All of the other aired episodes are done and are in my Oak Island playlist. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment.